In this episode, I got stuff. Really cool stuff. Brushes, paint, palettes, books. Stay tuned. You don't want to go away. You can go away though. Alright, hello minders. Welcome back to the Mind of Watercolor. Well, this week we're going to look at some new supplies, or new to me mostly. Just a few things that you may not have seen, new on the horizon within the last year or two. Nevertheless, I try to collect these items over months, so I'm not doing these episodes all the time. But I've got enough things now, new and notable, that I think you might be interested in. So let's get to it. The first thing comes from our good friends over at Etcher Labs. Now, this is not new. This little mini palette here, designed by Stephanie Law. I showed this, I think it was a Christmas episode. I'm not sure where I showed it before, but it's been several years. It's a neat little small mini ceramic palette in the round. Comes with a swatch card. Comes with these little absorbent pads. And then it comes with 2 trays, basically. 6 colors, maybe 7 if you count that well in the center. 18 colors, 19 if you count that center. I think that's right. And just very nice. Nice little ceramic palettes. Okay, so why am I showing this old item? Well, a much newer item, let's move this out of the way, is the new Etcher Pocket Palette. It's really a pretty cool item. The Etcher Pocket Palette is this plastic, and its closure is mostly by magnets. Well, all by magnets. So you get a kind of a soft closure there. Very nice and compact. I think the real cool factor, though, is the inside. We'll get back to this magnet in a minute. So over here you have an insert, and this is held in by magnets. Basically you've got them there, and you just drop this in and then rotate it till it snaps to a magnet. And this holds half pans. And if, like a lot of artists, you have a collection of half pans that you can swap in and out of watercolor palettes, you could do the same here. Which 7 colors am I going to take with me today? Go bring your half pans in and drop them in there. Pretty neat. On this side are what I guess are mixing trays. And this is double stacked. So you've got that. You could use this to put gouache in, or you could use it just to mix colors from here. Bigger mixing tray here. And that snaps together with magnets. Pretty neat. And then same as this, you drop it in and rotate it till they are held fast by the magnets. With this unit comes these extra magnets. You probably have figured it out by now. To be glued or attached to these older ceramic style palettes. Well, it looks like 4, I think, in there. So maybe 2 for each one. Drop those in. Once the magnets are attached, and you can take your ceramic palette. So it's a bit of a system when you combine the two. And then everything goes back together in these little compact situations. It's potentially a really nice system if you're a minimalist painter and like to travel very light and compact. Now, I'm not going to be real heavy on recommendations because a lot of the stuff I really haven't tried that I'm going to show you. They're just things I want you to know about that I think are notable, and at least I believe to be pretty good quality. All right, let's look at Mgram. If you've been around this channel long, you know that's probably one of my most favorite watercolor brands. I've been using Mgram the longest. Mgram has one of the highest pigment loads. They have introduced 2 brand new colors for them. Quinacridone Magenta and Indigo. Their Quinacridone Magenta is PR122. I'll swatch this in just a minute. Indigo is not a true indigo pigment. such as my Mary Blue has. This is actually PB60, anthracnone blue, and carbon black PB6. So an indigo hue, so to speak. We'll take a look at those in just a minute. When I was sent these, and Mgram did send these to me to try, in the same letter, they mentioned that quinacridone rust was being phased out, discontinued completely, and cobalt violet. Cobalt violet has already been discontinued. I think quinacridone rust, they'll discontinue as soon as they run out of the pigment. That's an pigment industry thing. Pigments are used in a lot of different industries, not just art. And a lot of those industries have bigger demands on pigment, bigger uses, and artists and art supplies a lot of times are just sort of beneficiaries on the side. When an industry quits using or a pigment goes out of use, then they become almost impossible to get. And I think that's what Mgram is dealing with. So if you, like I said, cobalt violet is gone. If you like their quinacridone rust, you want to stock up on it, do it now, because it won't last. I have a little bit of their quinacridone rust. I don't use it much. It's a very nice color, but there are plenty of substitutes out there. It's just up to you and what you like to use. All right, so let's take a quick look at quinacridone magenta and indigo. Very nice, rich, I would say sort of burgundy wine color. Very nice. Mgram just manages to get some of the most intense pigment loads of any paint out there. A lot of people don't use this for plein air because sometimes the paint will not stay put in the palette, and I've never really had a problem. It's honey based, so Mgram, until it dries and sets up in the pan, and you turn the pan sideways or carry it or get it in intense heat, the color may ooze out of the pan. But it has been just one of the best studio paints for me. All right, let's take a look at indigo. PBK6, PB60. Very traditional looking. With that PBK6 in there, it's going to granulate probably. Not probably, it will. And the set of colors that I put together for my Mary Blue has indigo in it. Let's just take a look at how they compare. This is Mgram, this is my Mary Blue. Now this is true indigo, which is a vegetable-based dye. It's known to be fugitive in its standard usual state. That's just beautiful. I just really love my Mary Blue's indigo. But that's nice too. Now my Mary Blue, if you've seen my reviews or the videos I've done on the set, they claim they've done a stabilization process which improves light fastness. They give this full light fastness rating. Some independent tests by other artists show that it will fade in very pale washes, will tend to fade. I don't know. I have not done those tests myself. But yeah, they're both very lovely. So that's all I'm going to say about those. I got a little more pigment on there. That's why that's darker. Oddly enough, this seems to be blacker and denser in the deep mass tone than this does. There you go. That's really mostly an announcement that these new colors exist with Mgram. If Mgram is your cup of tea. I'm happy to have those around. Moving on, let's look at some brushes. So some time ago, I often don't remember which episode, but some time ago I showed the Fumui brushes. Fumui is a Chinese company. They're actually based in the United Arab Emirates. They had these travel brushes, which I reviewed. These are true Kolinsky sable brushes, and I was actually very impressed with the quality. I'm not going to get in depth on those, but I recently saw, I don't know how new they are, but they were very new to me. I had not seen them before, were Fumui quills. Real squirrel hair quills. Same wooden type of handle here. Same screw in. situation here on the container and handle. It has the traditional binding that you get with a quill mop. And man, this was what was most impressive. Look at the tip. Squirrel is, well, kind of limp. Squirrel's not ever been my biggest favorite, but Squirrel holds a ton of water. And that's a pretty neat brush. I have not used these, so I can't vouch for that, for their quality in use. And very, very budget friendly. I mean, take a look at that. That's a brush you could carry into the field all by itself. It would do broader washes and details. That's a number 8. This first one was a size 12. That's pretty cool. You usually don't see quills that small. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I usually don't. So, yeah, so there they are. Fumui quill travel brushes. This is a leather pouch that they come in for compact carrying. And that's kind of neat. Most impressed by the points. All right, let's move on to Lebanszen. Lebanszen brushes, handmade brushes. When I first reviewed these, I have a review. I'll try to put a link down below. Tracy Lebanszen has a variety of different kinds. Some of them very expensive and very rare fibers. 2 examples of that would be elk, Siberian elk, and silver fox. These are not taken from live animals or slaughtered animals. These are from estate acquisitions, like old furs. This is like reused product, basically, that he finds. And some of these are pretty neat. This silver fox I've used as a detail brush. My favorite thing about Lebanszen brushes are detail brushes. And while he has other kinds, I think if I were to say he specialized in one area, it would be detail brushes. I recently decided to get some more. My favorite of his is the Goat and Synthetic Blend. Goat and Synthetic Blend just hit all the right sweet spots for me. Just checked all the right boxes. It had the snap that I wanted. These things have great points, and I decided I would explore the idea of using them as riggers. Fine line brushes, detail brushes, riggers. Let's just get one of them. This is the medium size. These are small. It's a medium size bamboo handle. This is a large, I guess. It's larger than this. What he calls the onesie handle. All of these are Goat and Synthetic blends. Let me get a little bit of purple paint here. And once you get paint on it, just take a look at that point. It's like needle. And this is not even the small. This is like, and with that tiny point on there, you don't always want to paint with a point like that, especially if you're trying to fill in. But what that also means is that your mark making is going to be unique. And then when you need a detail point, you got it. When you start moving these brushes side to side, you just get more interesting organic marks. I mean, look at that. So this is what I wanted to try, and this is, I think, a direction I'm going to start heading, and these are going to be like riggers for me. And I typically use riggers for tree branches or vegetative details like twigs, grass. And I just get an expression in the line that is second to none. This is kind of like those reservoir brushes. If you've ever seen a reservoir brush, that looks like this. It's where you have a big body and then it goes into a thinner part. Essentially, these handmade brushes are like reservoir brushes. But I love the way they handle fine details. And the big, thick body just lets you fill in if you need to. By the way, these two here were 1 inch. This one is 3/4 inch. So let's just do the 1 inch. I'll do a different color. Goat has a real ability to hold a lot of water. So, I mean, take a look at that. That's as good or better than any rigger for me. Really sensational expression. Yeah, so again, Lebanszen brushes, not new. Tracy's been doing this for a while. He makes every brush himself by hand, and they're really fun to use. And again, my favorite, the goat and synthetic blend. All right, drum roll please. I couldn't wait to show you guys this. I decided to just even unbox it right here on camera. If you're at all familiar with Etcher Sketchbooks, they have a full line of different sketchbooks called the Perfect Sketchbook. One of the lines they do every year is the Perfect Sketchbook Signature Series. It is a limited edition series. For me, these have almost become like collectibles because every year they put out a different one. They make only so many. When they're gone, they're gone. And they are hand torn. I believe I've got that right. Bound into a book. I know you're already thinking, well, that can't be cheap. Well, you're right, because it's so unique. Typically, I think in the past, all of their signature series sketchbooks have been Fabriano Artistico. That's pretty fabulous. For the first time ever, Arch. That's right, Etcher Laminated Edition Perfect Sketchbook Signature Series is Arch or Arches paper. My favorite paper, without a doubt. Oh, and I didn't know this includes 30 days free access to their online classes. I have a couple classes on their website. Let's take the band off. Nice. There's an elastic closure. Look at that. And there, hopefully you can see it. Let me see if I can get there. You can kind of see it there. There's the Arch logo. Woo-hoo. Yeah, baby. Oh, man. I can't wait to use this. Got the decal edges and everything. I said hand torn. I'm sure they've cut some of these sheets. Maybe hand torn some of the edges. I'm not sure exactly how they do it. All their sketchbooks, at least the Perfect Sketchbook Signature Series, have these ribbon bookmarks. And I just gently need to break this in. Arch used to put out a book of their own, a hardbound book. In fact, I have one. I'm never going to unwrap it. When I found it, it was such a unicorn because it was discontinued a long time ago. And just for posterity, collector's sake, I kept the shrink wrap on it and everything. Let me see if I can get it. Here, I'll get it and show it to you. Well, that's wrong. It doesn't have the shrink wrap on it, but it's never been used. I got it off eBay. This is a genuine Arch travel sketchbook. It's in landscape format. Isn't that cool? Too bad they still don't make that. I wish they would come back. Look at the embossing on there. Anyway, other than maybe some handmades that you might find on Etsy, I don't know that you will find another one unless you make it yourself. So I think this is amazing. I'm not going to mention, and you've noticed probably that I don't mention prices in these episodes because they're subject to change. And you can just go to their website, which I will have links below, and find out what these run. Something special. Okay. All right, and we are back to some paint. A few years ago, I did a review on gouache, my favorite gouache. And Holbein was in my top 5. I think it was actually number 2. Holbein gouache is just really, really good. There's 5, 6, 7 really top-of-the-line gouaches out there. Daniel Smith introduced some after that review, and I really like them. But I still put gouache in the top 5 of the all-time best gouache. This was new to me, so when I went to Pace, I met the guy who is sort of head, I think, of the U.S. marketing arm. I'm not sure what his title was. And really, he wanted me to try these. And I'd not heard of these. These are the Iridori gouache sets. What it is a set for each season. Spring, summer, winter, fall. I picked the spring. And I just think it's really neat. They are colors just sort of made to emulate that season. I suppose you could maybe consider it a bit of a gimmick, but I fell in love with these colors. I picked spring because it had the most light colors. I tend to use watercolor, standard watercolor for my darks, even when I'm painting with gouache. So I like having a nice collection of bright, opaque colors, and this was it. So check out Holbein's Iridori sets. There it is right there, Iridori. Traditional colors of Japan for spring. Exciting, and I'm anxious to get these out and paint with them. What about books? Well, the best of watercolors hit the stands. I thought I'll make a quick mention of this. I actually would have entered in this, but I missed their deadline. I didn't even know when it was. Actually, this is Best of Watercolor 26. I actually have a piece in 25. This used to be a nice hardback book called Splash, and they started putting it in a magazine. That's a bit of a bummer, but it's still worth picking up. If you see it on the newsstand, you might get it. I only saw it for the first time a couple weeks ago. This is intended as a summer release, but I imagine these will be hanging around for a little while, depending. But they typically have first, second, and third place winners. First place winner with Kathleen Giles. Amazing piece. A little bit about her. Angus McEwen. Fantastic watercolors. Second place winner. Tony Armendariz. Third place winner. Then they go, it's like honorable mentions, and then they go through all the categories. Architecture, portrait and figure, landscape, all of that. So just thought I would alert you that that is out. If you haven't seen it, go look for it. It'll make an inspiring bit of time going through there and checking out the amazing work. And last but not least, let's have another drum roll, please. I received this probably a month or so ago, and I've just been really excited about it and proud of the fact that I know Emily. We collaborated together, Biltmore State. She's a fellow YouTuber. That makes it special to me too. And she's just an all-around genuinely wonderful person to know and meet. Not to mention a great watercolorist. And I mean, this is an accomplishment to do this, to put together a book. And the national parks, no less, so that involves a lot of travel. So if you're interested in landscape, and especially some of the, and I got a signed copy. If you're interested in landscape, especially some of these signature locations people love to visit, this is a great book. And I'll tell you, it is very beginner friendly too. So it's something that you shouldn't be intimidated to get if you're a beginner or learning, even an intermediate landscape painter. Here's all the locations that she went to. This has a lot of great information. She's got a good section of getting started, colors, supplies. If you want to kind of pick her brain about what she uses and why. Some preliminary things on sketching, value, grids, tracing, how you transfer stuff. Working from photos, some great tips there. There's Emily. Just takes you through the whole process. This is a great book if you've never done plein air and you just want to start. Maybe you're going to go on a trip. This would be the book for you to get. Water control, one of my favorite subjects. Probably the most important skill you can master. How to control water, that's your primary medium. And then the parks. And folks, this is most of the book. I have bought, and I have on my shelf, watercolor books that spend most of the book on the beginner parts, the basic parts. I thought, I've never really liked that. I like having them there. They need to be there, but not be the book, unless that's what you're looking for. If you're going to buy a book about how to paint the national parks, it should mostly be about how to paint the national parks. And each park is not just how she painted it and the steps, but a lesson in and of itself. That's fantastic. This is a course in a book, and it's something that you could really benefit from if maybe you just really don't know how to approach some of these things. And if you don't like to draw, she even has the line art you can enlarge and transfer. And I think this is probably the most brilliant thing. She's got the QR codes for watching a video, downloading the template and reference photo, and turning each one into basically a class. Fan-freaking-tastic. So I've looked at a lot of watercolor books, folks, and this one's unique. This one's unique. All right, and with this, I will end this episode. Thank you all for watching. Links to everything that I can find links to for going and purchasing, I will put below. And I appreciate everyone watching, and especially appreciate the support I get from you patrons, as you are the ones that make this channel happen. We will see everybody in the next video. Bye-bye.